161st Street, Yankee Stadium.
Swung on and hit in the air to deep center. Gets back, away back. She is gone. He made the catch. He made the play.
All right. Welcome back to the Boys of 161st Street. I am here with Mark. What's your last name, Mark? Sorry.
Colley. It's
Here
a
with
little bit
Mark.
of an odd one.
I'm here with Mark Colley, coming all the way from Ottawa. He is from the Section 138 pod. They are Blue Jays podcast, so we thought we'd obviously bring in some Blue Jays before the season. Series is about to start. Season's about to start. Baseball is back. I am pumped about that. We finally made it. Mark, you excited?
Yeah, a couple days to opening day. It's getting not the way the Blue Jay fans wanted this season to start, but it's still exciting to get things going.
I mean, listen, we're in the same boat, and we thought we were, I don't want to, knock on wood here. We thought we were doing well going into this season. Now Luke Voit goes down with an injury. It sucks for my fantasy team because I drafted him. And I was trying to steer clear of Yankees because of that reason, because they all get hurt. Yeah. I mean, they're sick, and they're going to go high in ADP and all that, but if they get hurt, which they will, and all of them do, and they are already, and I'm a pessimist, but that sucks for us. Britton goes down too, but you guys are dealing with a lot of injuries yourself. But before we get into that, you guys are like a new-look Blue Jays team, huh? So you guys have a bunch of big moves, and this offseason, a lot of the AL East rivals, the Red Sox and the Rays, Orioles don't really do anything, but the Red Sox and Rays seemed like they took a step back, and you guys were trying to take advantage of it and go for it. I mean, why the fuck not? Go after it if you can.
Exactly.
And you guys have a young core around your team, so why not get a couple key free agents? But with that being said, which moves that you guys made are you most excited about going into this year?
I mean, there's the obvious George Springer deal. I mean, you don't spend 6 years, $150 million for someone you're not going to be excited about. But I guess kind of under the radar, a lot of people were confused by the Marcus Semien deal. But, I mean, 1 year, $18 million for a guy who's 1 year removed from a MVP caliber season, from like a 9-WAR season. That's a pretty good deal. I'm excited to see him bounce back, hopefully, fingers crossed, in the best case scenario from what he was in 2022, 2021.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a 1 year deal. So, I mean, I don't see much risk in that. Marcus Semien, like you said, is coming off a pretty close to winning the MVP. I was personally, back when he was in that MVP race, I was like, what the fuck? Who's Marcus Semien? Because he's stealing it from DJ. DJ was the 4. I think Semien was the 3 at that. I think it was Bregman, and I forget who won it that year. But I was pissed off. But I know Marcus Semien's a very good player. He's obviously coming from the Athletics. Not a lot of big market around there, so maybe not a lot of buzz around the name, which is why I was kind of caught off guard when he was that high. But he's a damn good player. And so he moves over to second base for you guys, right? Because you obviously have Bo Bichette.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why people were confused that Jays signed him, because we have Bo Bichette, and then Cavan Biggio used to be at second base. So it was like, where do you put him? But now we're moving. I guess Cavan Biggio's going to third. Semien's going in at second. So, I mean, Biggio can really play wherever, so it doesn't really matter where he is on the lineup on any given day. So, yeah, it's exciting to see. Again, it's not the area where the Blue Jays needed to improve, which maybe we'll get to later, but starting pitching was the area that is the problem in the offseason, and it is a little bit weird that they didn't spend that $18 million on starting pitching, but still, he's a good guy. I mean, $18 million for a guy like that, you can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, starting pitching, when you look at it at face value right now, seems like it's definitely the issue. And honestly, the comparison I just made in my head, I just thought about it is, I mean, this isn't like a unique thought or anything, but I picture you guys being very similar to that of the Angels, because like you went after guys and added bats, and the past couple of years, the Angels have also had starting pitching troubles, and there's always those memes you see, and it's like, say it with me, Angels front office, Anthony Rendon doesn't pitch, or Jock Peterson doesn't pitch when they try to get Jock Peterson. But I think you guys are very similar to that. You guys have great bats. That's definitely no secret that you guys can hit the crap out of the ball. But I personally have a lot of question marks with your starting rotation. So why don't we dive? I was going to do that a little later, but why don't we? So after, I'm assuming it's Ryu opening day, right?
Yeah.
So after that, what the hell do you guys have? Not a stain at you
question.
guys, but
no, it's a good question. Like I have a lot of questions about the rotation as well because it is Ryu, and then it's like, who the hell do you go to? Like it's supposed to be Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray's supposed to be the number 2 guy, or Nate Pearson. Both of them are injured right now. Robbie Ray's hopefully just going to miss one start. Pearson's probably out till May. So it's like I don't know. There's a lot of question marks. The Blue Jays are probably on day 2 on the Saturday playing the Yankees are probably going with someone like Steven Matz. They picked him up in the offseason. Yeah, former Met. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he can recapture what he was in 2019 instead of who he was in 2020. But there's a lot of question marks. I mean, you look at the number 3 starter. I don't even want to think of that far. But
I was looking at the depth
Tanner
chart.
Roark, like Ross Stripling, Anthony Kay. Like it's a little bit ugly when you look at the rotation. So people are really excited about the Blue Jays because of the lineup, but even as a fan, I'm a little bit pessimistic because of the state of the rotation.
I mean, you guys are going to put up a lot of runs, that's for sure. You have a lot of boppers in that lineup, but like you said, I was looking at this list. I know a lot more of the starting rotation. I took a look at the bullpen. I don't know any of these names outside of Kirby Yates, obviously we know. I've heard of the name Tyler Chatwood before. I feel like he was on the Cubs before, if I'm not mistaken. AJ Cole I've heard also. I think he was on the Yankees, I'm not sure. But these other guys, like who is Rafael Dolis, Jordan Romano? Are you worried about the bullpen more, or are you worried about the starting rotation is my question? Because I don't know these bullpen guys.
Yeah, more the rotation. The bullpen, surprisingly, like they got a lot of, I guess, like secondhand pickups, like a lot of guys who aren't premier. But you look at their stats, like Rafael Dolis, I think August 12th last season was the last time he allowed to run. And Jordan Romano, I think he made his debut in 2019. 2020 was kind of his first full season. He was injured a little bit, but his first 27 outs, I think he recorded without allowing a hit or a walk. So these guys, they're not recognizable names, but they are really good. AJ Cole is another guy who, surprisingly, the Blue Jays didn't pick up his option and they ended up signing him to a minor league deal, but he's still a really good name. So they got a bunch of bargain guys, a bunch of arms that you wouldn't ordinarily recognize, but they're still really, really good, or at least I'm hoping they're really, really good. And the bullpen, it is a little bit questionable, but it's definitely not the weakness of this team. The weakness is undoubtedly the rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys are very similar to us in the sense that I'm looking at the starting rotation as well. And maybe as of recent, our rotation, it looks good on paper, and the names that you may look at a couple of years ago, they're all good, but there are also a ton of question marks. Like, our rotation has the potential to be great, and they're talking about doing a 6-man rotation. Actually, Boone just came out today, the Yankee manager, and he said that we're going to do Cole, Kluber, Domingo, Montgomery, back to Cole, and then Tyone as a 6-man rotation type thing, which is interesting to see. But I think that's in large part due to how much of a question mark they are, especially with the injury stuff. Tyone hasn't pitched in 2 years. Kluber hasn't pitched in 2 years. Sevy's coming back, hasn't pitched in 2 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, Montgomery, who is one of the most healthy ones on the team outside of Garrett Cole, also is coming off a second year off of Tommy John. He only pitched a little bit last year. So, like us, you guys have a lot of question marks there. I think we have more question marks with injuries, but I think a little more upside. That's just my Yankee fandom coming up. But you guys do. I mean, Ryu, good pitcher, 2 years ago. Did he have a good year last year? I didn't really look into the stats for him. He did?
Yeah. He kind of had a couple bad starts at the beginning and at the end, but in between, the bulk of his season was really good.
So you're high on Engine Ryu?
Yeah.
Cool. No, I like seeing that, especially for opening day. I want to have a nice pitcher duel. Mm-hmm. I'm a big pitcher duel guy. If you hit 4 home runs in the first inning, it's exciting, but like I'm a big small ball guy. Which will never happen with the Yankees because that's just not what they do. So I'm excited for that. So game 2, we're looking at, what did I say? Kluber, and who do you think is on the bump? Roark, you said?
I really hope it's not Roark. I think Steven Matz probably has the best shot of it right now. He's probably the only healthy guy who's good enough to start day 2, but it's really up in the air.
So do you guys seemingly have a 5-man rotation, or is it just, whoever's healthy type thing go out there?
I think right now it's probably a 4-man rotation, and then
bullpen day.
Bullpen, whoever takes it, whether it's someone like Anthony Kay coming up from the alternate training site, whether it's, I don't know, Tyler Chatwood or Thomas Hatch when he's healthy, taking a couple innings here and there. It's definitely only 4 guys I really see in that. And that's, like we've said, Matz, Ryu, Rourke, and then when they're healthy, Ray, Pearson are going to figure into that. But
so Nate Pearson, a lot of hype around Nate Pearson. I play MLB The Show. I'm sure a lot of people do. I'm sure you do as well. His card was disgusting in that game because he throws what did he hit max? I saw he topped out somewhere.
I think 104.
That's ridiculous.
Is what he's topped out at. Yeah.
So he's sitting probably 101 or whatever it is. He's coming off what was his injury?
Last year he had I want to say a strain of something. I don't know. It all blurs together. He's strained his groin again this year. And he's right now out with that probably until May. But
okay, so nothing crazy. I was hoping it wasn't Tommy John because I'm excited to see the kid play too. Right. I know he's gonna probably torch us, but I still want to see that play. I mean, there's not much. I mean, I personally think I have you guys slated at number 2. I have a little standings board that I made. You can't really see it over here, but I made a little peg board with the standings, and I did my little predictions before the season. And I got you guys at number 2, and I was curious to you guys because from the outside looking into you guys, it looks like you guys have hopes to win the division, and I think you guys can. I obviously think you guys are at 2. I mean, I don't know if you are super high on the team, but I don't know. I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. So I'm not going to say they're not going to win the division, but from the outside looking in, you guys have a good team and with a lot of upside. So, like, what do you think is the ceiling for this team? Do you think they can win the division, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's good to hear you think we can win the division because, I mean, I think the Blue Jays can win the division. It's just like, I don't know, a 5% chance, like a 10% chance. I think it's pretty much in the bag for the Yankees. I think a lot of things have to go right for the Blue Jays. And if we're talking about their ceiling, I mean, in the best case scenario, you have Robbie Ray returns to what he was in 2017. You have Steven Matz back to what he was in 2019. You have Nate Pearson staying healthy. Then you're looking at a rotation that has 4 solid guys. And once you get to that point, you can start entertaining the possibility, I think, of winning the division. I think in an average season, the Blue Jays would win the wild card. So that's what I kind of pegged them at. But yeah, I think they can win the division. I don't think it's likely. I think a lot of things have to go right in that situation.
Yeah, no, I was saying, again, I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. So yeah. I'm going to pick them to win the division, but I do think the ceiling, there is a world where you guys do win the division, and I have you guys over the Rays was mainly my point because the Rays seem like, yeah, they made the World Series last year. Yeah, it might have, to me, seems like more of a Cinderella thing. Like they were just the hot hand and they had it going. Like they don't have super crazy names. It was just Arozarena played out of his mind. Do I think he's going to do that again? No. Again, we're not talking about the Rays right now. This is the Blue Jays series preview, but I think you guys have the leg up on them for sure. I think the floor for you guys is probably 3, being the Rays get 2, but I do think you guys get 2. I'm excited to duke it out against you guys. And I just wanted to ask you, while we're still talking about the off-season stuff before we get into the matchups and other stuff going into this series, what happened with the Brantley thing? Because you guys seemingly had Brantley. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I'm glad they didn't spend the money on Brantley because, I mean, they already have a fantastic outfield. They have Springer in center, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in left, who, by the way, hit 300 last year.
Oh, I know.
Over 60 games, yeah. But and then in right field, Teoscar Hernandez, Silver Slugger. So it never made sense to sign Brantley. I don't know what went on. Hazel May, who's one of the big reporters on the Blue Jays, she reported that the Blue Jays had finalized a deal with him. I believe she said it was a 3-year deal, and then it just kind of fell apart over the course of the day. And from what we heard, they were never really close to signing Brantley. So I don't know where it came from, why that was ever reported, why it was ever even entertained for a lot of Blue Jay people, because it never made sense. But it was really weird.
Yeah, I mean, so you're saying there was no deal even close to in place?
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting, like we said before. Like, say it with me, Michael Brantley doesn't pitch, so it doesn't really feel the need that you guys really needed that bad. But I thought it would have been cool. Yes, you have a loaded outfield, so I don't think you needed it. But again, injuries happen all the time. That's why I never have been too upset when the Yankees get people that we don't really need, because I'm scarred, and I think you guys are starting to get a taste of that. But
Yeah.
I assume injury with any player on the Yankees because that's just the way it's been. It's the way it's been going for us in the past couple of years. But
another thing people were thinking was that Randall Grichuk would be on the trade block. Like if you're signing Brantley, yes, you still have 4 outfielders, but you have a 5th in Randall Grichuk. So a lot of people were thinking, okay, they're signing Brantley and then they're going to flip Grichuk for a pitcher or something like that. But it's still like you're still left with 4 starting outfielders. So it was always weird.
I would love it if you guys traded Randall Grichuk because he's the Yankee killer. I was trying to look up his numbers before we hopped on here. I don't know how to search specific splits against teams. I was on Fangraphs trying to do the splits tool thing. I don't know that. All I do know is that he fucking rakes against us, and I don't like it. So honestly, hearing you say that he wouldn't be even in the starting outfield, would he be the DH? Because I was trying to look to see who is the everyday DH. Is that Randall Grichuk?
Yeah, it looks like it's probably going to be Grichuk, but then you also have Rowdy Tellez, who has nowhere to play if Rowdy. Talk about good names. He's also got nowhere to play if Vladdy's at first, and Biggio's obviously at third, so Vladdy's not going to be at third. That takes Tellez to DH, and then where do you put Grichuk? So it looks like they're just kind of going to play the hot hand in the outfield. Like, Grichuk will sub in every day or every other day, taking the place of Springer, or if Springer is injured, heaven forbid, as he is right now.
What's the deal with his injury, too? Because I meant to ask you that before when we were talking about the injuries, because my Red Sox fan friend, I was telling you that I have a few Red Sox friends around me, too, because I live here in New York, and I went to college in Connecticut, which is just a middle ground for everything. But I was looking, he's trying to sell me Springer. Now, I know Springer's a great baseball player, amazing MVP-like player, awesome in the playoffs, all that. What is the injury serious? They say he's going to be ready by opening day potentially. I guess you have more information on that. So what's the deal with that? Should I go after him or should I be skeptical?
He's questionable for opening day. It's a grade 2 oblique strain. So the Blue Jays were saying like a 7-day timeline. It sounded like he needed more than that. So I wouldn't bet on him for opening day, but I don't think he's going to be out long term. Like I think you might see him on the Sunday of this series against the Yankees.
So it's not that serious. He's going to play, especially for the season. So maybe I will make the trade. I don't know. I would have to give up Mondesi. Mondesi gets 50-something steals. So I don't know. It was a few other people too, but we'll see. Anyway, with that aside, I want to get your pick and find out who you think the MVP of the team will be this year, who is the Rookie of the Year. We'll start with MVP. So when it's all said and done, what do you think is going to happen this year?
I mean, I think the easy choice is Bo Bichette. He's a natural. Some people are putting him in the conversation for American League MVP. So I think it's not out of the ordinary to say he's going to be team MVP. I mean, he's hit 300 in his career. I mean, it's only like 80 games or something, and he was injured for part of last year, but I think he's an unreal talent. People are kind of forgetting about him in the larger conversation, but he's definitely, I think, the best hitter on this team.
Oh, I'm not forgetting about him. That dude can hit, and I mean, I know spring training stats don't really matter that much, but the other day, Bo Bichette hits the 2 home runs in one game. Yeah. Vladdy's hitting 470 something right now.
Yeah,
I don't know, how has he been playing often?
Yeah, he was actually getting a ton of at bats, and I think it was 2 games in a row, and he had 7 hits in 7 consecutive at bats or something crazy like that. He's been Slim Vladdy is working out for the Blue Jays.
Slim Daddy Vladdy looks good out there. How many pounds did he drop?
I think it was 42, is what we heard.
42 pounds is a
in
lot of pounds.
Season, yeah.
What was he doing? What did he change? Did his Blue Jays talking about what's he up to? Is he just going keto? Like what's going on with him?
I don't know. We saw he was all off season. He was posting like workout videos on his Instagram. So clearly he was dedicated and trying. And apparently last summer when we went into summer camp, he showed up to camp and was overweight, and the Blue Jays were upset with him. And apparently he apologized to the team for not taking care of his body. So I think that may have been like a wake-up call for him. And then in the offseason, he really got to work and dedicated himself to actually toning himself physically. But, whatever works. Like I don't care if he is a big guy. Like even if he hadn't dropped those 42 pounds, I'd be fine. if he was hitting. It's just he wasn't hitting last year. So it's good to see that he's actually put in the work.
Yeah, that's similar to what Gleyber Torres for us was. They yelled at him for being a little fat, little chunker coming into the season. He had a little bit of a down year. Now he's lost weight. He's one of those best shape of his life candidate guys. Same with Voit was and Vladdy is now. And now Gleyber's kind of ripping it open in spring training, which looks great, and I'm happy to see that because I have a bunch of his rookie card too because I think he's going to go off. A lot of people around the MLB are actually investing. I'm a big card investor, and they're investing in Vlad Jr. after the weight drops. So you think that is going to make him pop off a little more? Or are you a lot more optimistic now that he's slim daddy Vladdy?
Yeah, I think it's for real. I don't think there's any reason to not believe it. Like, I think the past 2 seasons that he's been in the majors and hasn't performed were because he wasn't putting in the work. Like, he's never faced a challenge really in his life. He was signed by the Blue Jays, 16 years old. He's a son of a Hall of Famer. He flew through the Blue Jays system and was always like one of the best prospects in baseball. He never really faced a challenge, I think, until he got to the majors. And then he kind of got stuck a little bit. And I think hopefully from what we're seeing, like I said, he's put in the work. He's realized that he can't just skate by on what he's done before. And I mean, hopefully it pays off. I think it's for real.
I do too. And a lot of people do. I personally haven't picked up a couple of his rookie cards, but a lot of people are, and he could pop off this year. But I wanted to get a taste of you have a lot of moving parts, a lot of new players too. So what does the batting order look like now? Like what's it 1 through, let's say, like 5-ish, because I don't really care about the back end.
Yeah. I mean, the big debate right now is Biggio or Springer leading off. I think they'll probably go with Springer. I don't think it's going to be set in stone though, but I mean, if you go Springer, I think Simeon's a safe bet to go number 2, and then Bichette, and then cleanup, probably Teoscar Hernandez, and then number 5 is any of a number of guys. Maybe it's Gurriel some nights, maybe it's Guerrero, depending how he's hitting. I'd say that's probably a pretty safe number 5.
Yeah, I would probably go Springer. I mean, Springer's been nothing but awesome as leadoff with the Astros.
Exactly.
He may have been cheating, who knows? But are you worried at all about that? Worried about him coming back down to earth potentially without the good old camera in center field?
I mean, I hate the fact that as a Blue Jay fan now I have to kind of excuse that. Like, I can't. Like, it's hard, but like at the same time, he's going to be a Blue Jay for 6 years. I don't want to be railing on him over and over and over again because of this, but I think he'll do fine. I'm hopeful. I don't think it inflated his numbers too much. I mean, you look at his 2020 stats as well. Like, he's a good player. It's undeniable that he's a good ball player. So maybe it knocks him a little bit on the edges and on the margins, but I think by and large, he's still the same player.
Yeah, no, I personally think, I mean, all of the Astros, yes, they cheated, but they were also great players, and that's why everybody thought, like, why did you cheat? Because you were already so good, and that's why everybody got pissed off. I was just curious what Blue Jays land is saying. When he was signed, what was the initial reaction? Like, did everybody just openly accept him right out of the gates? I know some players said, like, I apologize, whatever, but like when they came to a new team, got a fresh start. I think, who was the one who went to the Mets? Who was kind of a useless outfielder? Well, I don't know, but he went over, what's his name? Never mind. Doesn't matter. But what was like the feeling in Blue Jays land in Ottawa? What are we thinking here? Like, is he just openly accepted right out of the gates? Did he need to win you guys over? What's going on with him?
I think most people have conveniently forgotten that he was known for that he was part of that Astros team. There are some people who are upset. I don't know if they're actually Blue Jay fans or if they're just trolls, just, like commenting on Instagram posts with trash cans, stuff like that. But I think overall people realize, like I said, like he's going to be with this team for the better part of a decade. It's either like you got to just accept it. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's horrible. I hate having to just kind of sweep it under the rug, but it's in the past now. Like, I hope the Blue Jays don't do that. Like, there's nothing else to say. It's either just get excited about this guy or be miserable that he's a Blue Jay for 6 years.
Yeah, why would you do that? I'm not, and I wasn't saying that. I don't think he was one of the main parts of it either. And that's been so long now. Everybody knows. Actually, when the Astros come to New York, I guarantee they don't forget that. We missed the opportunity to boo people, so we're gonna go off on that. But I am excited for this series. I am excited for this season. I'm excited to, well, personally, even before you guys signed these extra free agents last year, was it last year or the year before? We've just always seemed to have trouble against you guys, even when you guys weren't.
Really?
Well, was it? No, 2019, I think our record against you guys was not good, if you remember that.
Wow.
That's just from what I remember, I feel like. But I feel like we always used to have good battles, so I'm excited to see that this year. You guys have a good offense, so it's certainly going to be high-scoring games, so those are always fun. I'm excited for a nice opening day against you guys. You know what I'm happy about? I'm happy we're playing you guys opening day because usually we open up against the Orioles, and that's never
boring.
Fun. I mean,
yeah.
It's fun to see for the first couple of innings to see just 11 runs, football scores going up on the board, but at a certain point, I want to see something competitive to open up to. So I'm excited to play you guys first. You know, the rest of the AL East doesn't look too hot, so I'm really excited to see how this in 162 shakes out because I think you guys are deep enough, like you said, with the outfield to have the pieces playing around. But I do hope you lose every single game this opening week. But I mean, I expect nothing less from you on the way back too. I did want to do a little wager before we hop out of here.
Okay.
So, but before we do that, I wanted to know, in order to match up properly, who's somebody on the Blue Jays that you guys are pissed at, and you basically want him to be like way better. He should be so much better than he is, and you're upset with him recently. I'm basically outlining your version of Gary Sanchez to us because that's who you're going to go up against. I'm going to match up whoever gets more hits in this series. That's who it is. So, who is that version of a Blue Jay?
Oh, man. I mean, before you said hits, I was thinking Tanner Roark because I'm just pissed at him.
We can pivot. We can pivot and do a pitcher.
He's probably not going to start against the Yankees, or at least I hope he doesn't. Oh, man. That's tough. Maybe
I mean, there's not many
Jansen.
Gary Sanchez out there, so that is tough because he's. I have a thing that I say.
Jansen.
Danny Jansen.
Yeah, just going with the catcher.
Okay,
like Gary Sanchez.
So whoever has more hits in this series, Danny Jansen or Gary Sanchez, or we could do. Is Danny Jansen a good defensive catcher?
He's supposed to be.
Well, you know, Gary isn't, so I was going to say pass balls. Either way, whoever has more hits this series, let's do a little wager. I was thinking whoever ends up having more hits, the other person, when they record their next week of podcasts, has to wear a Yankees shirt or vice versa, Blue Jays on the other end. So, and open the episode announcing that they are, or I don't know. I didn't really have anything planned for this, but we can have a little fun wager and just whoever has more hits, we win. Haha, it was so fun. Great. But I don't think it'll be Gary Sanchez, but we'll see. A lot of people are Gary supporters. I catch a lot of heat for shitting on him all the time, so we'll see. He did hit the cover off the ball in the early spring, and then he kind of fell off and went back to Gary. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I am excited. I am excited to see baseball for the first time in a while. Where are you? Well, my other question, too. I was about to say I'm going to the stadium. We just bought tickets, me and my buddies, to go.
Oh, for opening day?
Not for opening day because it's during the day, and Papa's got to work. But I am going a couple days after, actually, for my birthday. So, but are you guys playing in Toronto or are you still Buffalo?
No, we're actually in Dunedin in Florida to start the season.
Really?
Yeah. So the plan is to stick in Dunedin for, I guess, like 2 months until June, basically, and then they're going to reevaluate and say, can we get to Toronto now? Is the government going to let us in? If not, they'll move to Buffalo because they don't want to spend the summer in Dunedin because it's Florida. And then maybe at some point they make it to Toronto, depending, I mean, how the world unfolds, vaccines and all that stuff. But starting the season, Dunedin.
How close are you to the stadium?
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Well, Ottawa's like,
I know,
maybe 4.5 hours. Yeah,
I have no idea
Toronto,
where everything is, but
if they come to Toronto, I would make the trip 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and it's even been. I mean, actually, it's not like you missed much because they played in Buffalo last year, but nobody was allowed in the stands anyway. So,
yeah.
Anyway, like I said, I hope you guys lose every game against us. You can win the other ones against the Orioles, and I would expect that from you as well. But anyway, thank you for coming on. If any of you Yankees fans want to check out his page, it's Section 138 Pod. I don't know if you're gonna listen to a Blue Jays podcast, but hey, go check him out. That's where he's at on Instagram. So if you want to plug yourself wherever else everybody else can find you, let the people know.
Yeah, at Section 138 Pod, Twitter, Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Check us out. I know it's a Blue Jay pod. You probably don't want to listen to it, but
hey, we're all baseball fans. We like to hear. That's why I wanted to have you on and get the perspective and see what we're in the mood for, what we're looking to see for the season starting. You know, I'm excited for it. I'm ready to talk baseball with you. I'd love to have you on next time we have a series. We're playing 19 times, so we'll do this again. Hopefully, we'll see you soon. And go Yanks. Fuck the Jays.
Go Blue Jays.
All right, thanks, man.